Here's what I learned after publishing 50 episodes on the Golden Voice podcast. Coming up right after this intro.
Join me in my mission to help put at least 50,000 music artists on the right track to be independently successful with their music, to turn the talent that they have with their voice into gold. My name is Billy Nellis, and welcome to the Golden Voice Podcast.
Boom. All right. This is another milestone celebration. I was looking at my stats and, the tool software platform that I use to publish my podcast. And I had a congratulations banner that also came through my email. Let me know that I published my 50th episode for the Golden Voice podcast. Man, It's been quite the journey on that, and there's a few things that I learned that I want to share on here. I'm going to do a little bit of a recap, so to speak. And if you're new, I'm going to send you back to watch some of the previous episodes that I published so that you can tune in and really understand what this podcast is all about. You may have heard it in the intro or the tag that I have for it. So I'm on a mission to put at least 50,000 independent music artists on the right track to be independently successful with their music. And I just want to help you turn the talent that you have into gold. Okay, the talent that you have with your voice into gold. And that was, that's my goal with this podcast. All right, bring everything onto your table so that you can actually, at some point potentially turn this into your main gig when it comes to your music career, right? Live off of your music and being independently successful with it. You see what I'm saying? So this is what the podcast is about. So I remember when I started, the reason why I started is that a really high-end entrepreneur with the last name Golden on top of that said, Billy, you have such an amazing voice, and this is something that I've heard basically all my life. You see what I'm saying? Even up to recently, you know what I mean? Everybody tell me that I have some power in my voice. And I thank God for this because, he put a talent onto me. You see what I'm saying? And it is my duty and responsibility to get out there and share the message that I have to share with my calling. You see what I'm saying? And, I'm on the media mountain when it comes to the artist community, and I'm going to have to show up for my people. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm about. And then there's one of my friends that used to call me the Golden Voice as well. And ironically, I set up this podcast to be the Golden Voice podcast, almost forgetting that he used to also call me the Golden Voice. Oftentimes when I used to come on Instagram and everything. But anyways, this is what this podcast is all about. You know what I'm saying? Like speaking to the indie artist community, to independent music artists, right? To help them get on the right track to be independently successful with their music. All right. This is where I found fulfillment. If I put somebody onto something that creates an impact with their life, music career, so that they can come back and say, yo, that guy Billy, man, he put me onto something crazy, and here's where I'm at now because of him and this and that. This is what warms my heart. This is why I find fulfillment, and I'm just going to keep showing up for my people so that they can take what I have, because I may be one step ahead, take it, run with it, get some results from them for themselves, and let the world know that it was because of me, kind of thing. So what I've learned after publishing 50 podcast episode on the Golden Voice podcast, first of all, the top 3 episodes were these ones, okay? The top 3 were episode 0, which is basically the first one, and it was the welcome episode for the Golden Voice podcast, right? Breaking down what it's about and everything, the story behind what really pushed me to launch everything. And I also remember being on a podcast challenge is the host of the Social Proof podcast. David Shands, you see what I'm saying? Shout out David, one of the top podcasters in the game. You see what I'm saying? So he was just breaking down how podcasting is just something that's going to help me put my voice out there for my audience and so on and so forth, so that I can build upon that and really make it something solid for my business. And that really also gave me that push so that I can keep going. And that's how the theme came about, the golden mic and everything. And it's just been going. So one of the top 3 episodes is episode 0, which is the first one that welcomes you to the Golden Voice podcast. And the next episode was the one where I shared the 3 rules that I've learned to sell over $100,000 worth of music online, right? This is something that I got an award for as well inside of the private community of almost 3,000 musicians that I also mentor and coach. You see what I'm saying? I've been able to achieve that. The next stop is, of course, 7 figures and everything. We're working on that, but that was the second top podcast episode, and it was episode 20 for the Golden Voice podcast, right? So if you didn't tune into it yet, I suggest that you go back. That was, one of the top 3. And now the third one that was, one of the most popular of all time on the Golden Voice podcast is the one where I shared how I went broke spending money on paid advertising, right? So that was actually the second episode. And I think that, when people see the headline, they're like, how I went broke. I want to find out how I went broke spending money on paid advertising. And that was one of the top episodes, top 3. That was the third of the top 3 episodes on the Golden Voice podcast, according to stats that had the most downloads. And of course, I celebrated 1,000 downloads on the Golden Voice podcast recently. I think it was towards the end of 2022, and got myself a plaque to, mark that milestone, because once you hit that 1,000 downloads mark on a podcast, it's definitely a little something to celebrate. You see what I'm saying? So that's what makes it all effective, right? So what publishing 50 podcast episodes taught me is that consistency is key. I always talk and preach about that, but I've been able to really discipline myself to show up for my people and not lose a ball. It did happen though, and I'm guilty of it, right? It did happen that, I think I missed like 1 or 2 or 3 weeks where I wasn't able to publish due to life happening, right? It all happens to us, but it's really important to be consistent with anything that you're doing, especially if you are a music artist. You're gonna want consistent. You're gonna want to make that your last name. You see what I'm saying? So me able to show up for my people has shown me that people also show up for me for when I drop some of that value. And the audience, the listeners, super thankful for all of y'all. If you're tuning in right now, you actually show up as well. You see what I'm saying? And of course, those numbers I'm going to have to ramp that up. According to stat, on average, each episode gets about 52 downloads. So I want to ramp that up. You see what I'm saying? I want to get to the point where we get 1,000 downloads per, and then we get to the 1 million downloads mark, that good stuff. But it's a progress, right? This is something that's going to happen over time through the consistency of me showing up and sharing the value that I have to share on the mission that I am. You see what I'm saying? So just being able to show that and be a role model and an example in terms of that consistency has been amazing. And then I also learned that, open loops, you see what I'm saying, that I drop on the reels on my Instagram. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm at BigShotBeats _ on there. And when I drop those open loops, what do they call them? I'm having a little blank, but when I drop those, I always find a way to, find the preview of the right moment to make that cut so that it leads to the call to action for somebody to comment podcast, and so that they can get the actual link to the podcast, so that they can come tune in. So cliffhangers is the word that I was using for. So if some of y'all may have seen them, right? The reels that I do to preview the content I share on the Golden Voice podcast. Amazing cliffhangers, and I think that I'm going to keep those going so that I can hook people in and capture their attention so that they can then go and tune in. All right. So, we got to celebrate that with a little something. You know what I mean? But this is where we're at. You understand what I mean? 50 episodes published for the Golden Voice podcast. We are not going to stop anytime soon. Like I said, I'm on a mission to put at least 50,000 independent music artists on the right path to be independently successful. And for me, if you could be making the best music in the world, but if you don't put it in front of people to listen to it, it's useless. You're going to need to learn how to market it. And I'm equally passionate about making music than I am with marketing. And I'm going to bring both of them together on the Golden Voice podcast. All right. So that's what it's all about. I appreciate it. And I'm thankful for everybody that's been listening. We're going to keep that growing. Make sure that you help me spread the word by sharing the Golden Voice podcast with a friend that would find some value in listening to it. And we're going to keep it going. We have more to come. And I'm just going to continue to lead and stand in value, right? To share the knowledge that I take action on, get results on, so that I can transfer it to you, for you to go ahead and take action and also get results on the things that I share with you. So with that said, these are some of the things that I've learned in some of the top podcast episodes and the reason why. And quick little recap when it comes to the being at the 50 mark for the Golden Voice podcast. Make sure that you subscribe, follow whatever platform that you're on right now, so that you can stay tapped in to the new episodes that I'm going to have coming up. And hopefully it's going to continue to be of value to you, so that we can grow together and be on that mission. Because the question is, are you one of them that's going to keep following me as I lead the pack, so that we can get to that destination and keep evolving and keep going to our next levels as we're moving forward with the music. All right. So with that said, this was Billy here for Big Shot Beats on the Golden Voice podcast, celebrating 50 episodes. And we're going to keep it moving. Hopefully I'll get to talk to you on the next one coming up very soon. Let's go.